Shop Plato's Closet tax-free August 2nd through 4th for back-to-school styles. We sell the trendy, gently used styles you need to make a difference in the world and in your wallet for back-to-school shopping. Save up to 70% off regular retail prices by choosing recycled styles. Save even more when you shop tax-free this weekend. Make a change that others can respect and repeat. Shop Plato's Closet in North Charleston and West Ashley this year for your back-to-school looks. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
Welcome, everyone, to a special edition of Couch Potato Diary, as this is the WWE Summerslam Mega Preview. I just said on the Terrence Crawford one, if you tuned into that, that I'm going to be looking to do more of this as some of the big events that we cover throughout the week. If you just want to hear about that event, we'll do a catch-all at the end of the week or in the day leading up to that particular event, and that'll kind of be your one-stop shop. Because like I said in the other one, not everyone who likes the CFL likes the WWE, likes the NHL, likes all of that. So if you're just looking for the wrestling stuff, here it is in podcast form. This is everything we did on WWE SummerSlam this week. It is SummerSlam week as we get ready for one of the WWE's big events of the year and the first major event since WrestleMania. So where are we at? I think the WWE is building at a really good time. I think that they used the first couple of months post WrestleMania and be like, look, A, we know there's probably going to be a lull anyway, but B, we are going to some amazing crowds. We have a guy who is red hot as our champion. And so we can afford to maybe play around with a few things. And so they have, I think, built up Gunther tremendously. I think they have really built things up with Damian Priest. All right, that hasn't been perfect, but it's been fine. They have really invested in this Bloodline 2.0 with Solo Sikoa and all of that. They have used these last few months to build up, and now a lot of it is crescendoing here at SummerSlam. Priest versus Gunther, I thought they heated that one up really, really quickly. And for one that kind of felt like, well, this is like a mandatory challenge in boxing, they have built it now into a really, really compelling story. And one where I am not so sure Priest is losing here at SummerSlam. I thought Gunther, when he won King of the Ring, there is no question he wins at SummerSlam. But I do wonder if Priest gets this win, just given how hard, it's Booker T, Triple H, maybe not to the full extent of everything that was going on there, but with the homelessness is a choice angle that Gunther took on Raw a couple of weeks ago, that's a pretty shitty thing to have your guy say and then beat the guy after. I wonder if Priest wins here and then Gunther gets his rematch at Berlin. And they are able to get that one there, and it just feels like maybe a bit of a bigger deal and a bigger coronation for Gunther. But they have done a great job of building up some doubt in this one. And same thing goes for the Women's World Championship as well, with Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. SummerSlam feels like the first big moment of this feud, not the culmination. This feels like the end of Act 1. And that makes it really exciting because I feel like there are some real legs that they have with this story. And again, that makes it really, really fun for me. When you have like a few twists and turns that are coming this weekend. I have it written down here. This is going to feel more like an Attitude Era match than it is a current one. Like, I don't think we're going to get 35 minutes bell to bell of just fast-paced action. We're going to get some, because I think these two are going to have a really good show in the ring. But I wonder, like, what's Finn's involvement in all of this? Is Dom really on Rhea Ripley's side? I think this is kind of the real big blow that kind of fractures Judgment Day up a little bit more here. And so that... I am so interested to see how this one happens. This one's probably the one that I am most intrigued to see the overall story around all of it heading into or coming out of Saturday. But it's another one where you just kind of thought, yeah, Rhea comes back, she wins the title, and she continues on her reign of dominance. I don't know. Like, Liv has found her character, and she has been exceptional at it. And I think that, like, it just, like I said, it feels like the end of Act 1. And something they can really build on into the future. And like, same with Solo and Cody. Maybe not necessarily Act 1, but this feels like it'll be a bit more Attitude Era-ish. And I do think that, like, a lot of people are anticipating Roman's coming back. I would anticipate that as well. And that kind of leads into the start of this whole big bloodline civil war part 2 sort of a thing. But I think the last few weeks they've done a really good job of making the bloodline feel unbeatable again. Like I said earlier, I would have liked to have seen more in-ring dominance, have Solo go out there and just kick the shit out of random jobber X, like just beat Baron Corbin every week. Have him go out there and do that. While also doing the table stuff at the end and all of that. But still, they've built him up. No one's believing that Solo's going to win the Undisputed Universal Champion or whatever it's called now, the WWE Championship. But I think it is setting up for a real interesting part that is next here. Other things that are going on, Punk against Drew McIntyre. It finally gets into the ring. I'm excited for this one as well. The Seth Rollins involvement intrigues me a little bit. It does feel like it is a bit of an extra piece and also a bit of a waste of Seth Rollins in this particular role. It does feel a little bit like Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus a year ago, where like this is a big show. One of your big stars should have a bigger role on your big show. But the main hope is just everyone stays healthy coming out of this, because these three could just do this dance basically up until the Royal Rumble. And then lastly, Braun Breaker, I think his time is now. I think it does kind of help spin off Sammy with Jey Uso into whatever Roman Reigns thing is next. And I think that is rather helpful, actually. And I think it is now time for Braun Breaker to take that next step. We have passed this level. It is now time for him to be the ass-kicking champion, and we will see that coming up on Saturday. I do believe.
Why are so many dogs suffering from health issues? Actress Katherine Heigl, who's helped save over 16,000 dogs through her foundation, says she's seeing more issues with dogs' joints, odors, and health than ever before. And after doing a ton of research, she feels there's one place we can look to support any dog's health: their food. So she decided to create something she could actually feel good about feeding her dogs. It's called Superfood Complete. Superfood Complete is made with over 30 of the healthiest ingredients on the planet, including several superfoods vital to your dog's health. Badlands Ranch also sponsors the Jason Debus Heigl Foundation, which has helped rescue thousands of dogs and place them in loving homes. Dogs across America are trying this food and experiencing amazing health benefits. Go to badlandsranch.com/save50 and order right now to get up to 50% off your regular price order with a 90-day money-back guarantee. If you want your dog to experience all these incredible things, go to badlandsranch.com/save50 today.
Shop Plato's Closet tax-free August 2nd through 4th for back-to-school styles. We sell the trendy, gently used styles you need to make a difference in the world and in your wallet for back-to-school shopping. Save up to 70% off regular retail prices by choosing recycled styles. Save even more when you shop tax-free this weekend. Make a change that others can respect and repeat. Shop Plato's Closet in North Charleston and West Ashley this year for your back-to-school looks. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
Save on O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner. Get 2 cans of O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner for just $8. Valid in-store only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Please. All right, WWE is getting ready for SummerSlam this weekend, and it is another example of a big show being put on by Triple H, Paul Levesque, and I think this is a time to kind of look at what did he learn in his time in NXT, and how has he shown that here on the main roster? Because we are in this kind of Paul Levesque era, and as I said before, NXT not just for developing in-ring talent, it's for developing everyone in WWE, including their current head of creative. So, let's take a look at some of the lessons that Triple H learned from NXT. The first one is when you have a hot storyline, you throw everything at that hot storyline. And we saw that with a number of different ones in NXT, where you would have, whether it's a big title feud, Adam Cole just in the Undisputed Era in general, Kevin Owens being a big factor in things. When you have something, it can kind of swallow everything up. And a couple of examples that we saw here in the main roster was obviously the Bloodline, where that just took over everything, and it kind of sprawled into a number of different areas and a number of different storylines, and that elevated a lot of talent. And that is the other big part of it, is that there is such a way that you can do this, where instead of the NWO just burying everyone, this is the Bloodline elevating Sami Zayn, elevating Jimmy and Jey Uso, because of like how much it just kind of took over all of the other storylines. And the other one here is the Money in the Bank with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. And I talked a while ago about why I thought that was actually a smart decision to do that, because you already have a number of different projects on the go. Money in the Bank maybe isn't going to be as impactful on the men's side, because you are building up Priest and Gunther and Uso, and a few others that I'm failing to the Wyatt Six and Solo Sikoa and all of those guys. So instead, use it as something to further one of your big storylines. And so I think that it can sometimes come at a bit of a cost, and there can be some collateral damage, but when they have a main storyline that is the focus, they are going to put a lot of focus into that, and sometimes it can swallow everything up. The other one is, it's kind of twofold. You can come back from losses, and that he has learned how to build people up quickly. One of the unique things about NXT is that there was a constant churn of talent going through there. And so one of the things that was interesting was like, okay, and this is another one of those, when you have a hot storyline, it can kind of take over. So say you had a Finn Balor who is on a roll and on a roll and on a roll. Well, he can go out and he can beat a Andrade or an Apollo Crews or whoever. I'm sure my timing is off on some of these, but just understand what I'm saying. He can beat those guys because eventually he's moving up to the main roster, and those talents are going to have a bigger spotlight. And so you can kind of make people forget about those losses. And he has kind of done that with some main roster stuff, where there was a few times where you would have some talent where it's like, boy, that seemed a little quick to beat them. Braun Breaker, for example, that seemed a little quick to beat that guy. Well, they have continued to build him up, and they have been able to get him into a spot where he probably should have won the Intercontinental title before, but he absolutely has an opportunity to do that now. And you look at like the amount of times they beat Jey Uso, again, getting swallowed up by the Roman Reigns storyline, but his time in that main event spot will come as Roman Reigns exits, as Jey goes to another show. Now you build him up in a new way. And so there's a lot of times in wrestling we get worried about beating a guy too soon or beating a guy too much, and you absolutely can do that. It is a fine line, but I think one of the things Triple H learned in his time with NXT, part of it by necessity because of the constant churn of talent, is that you can beat some of these guys, but there is still a way to elevate them then to the main roster at a different point. And the last one is not everyone needs to be on every show. As of right now, SummerSlam is a 7-match card. And there are probably going to be some big names not on it, but you can use that in a way to highlight the SmackDown and Raw before, the Raw and SmackDown after, and put those big names on there. It keeps people fresh, it keeps storylines fresh, and it makes it feel like there is something new constantly happening. NXT takeovers, they were like 4 or 5 matches. And then, yes, you have a couple other key storylines that are heating up on their way up to it. Maybe you reference them on a takeover. Maybe there's a video package. But then you put them on NXT the week after and the week after and the week after. And all of a sudden, those shows feel like they are pay-per-views or premium live events or whatever, because you have these pay-per-view level rivalries that are still building up. And you kind of, instead of having a 15-match card, you have an 8-match card and then spread out the other 7 throughout the rest of the weeks, and it makes those shows feel important. And so I think Triple H, you can really see some of the ways that he learned from NXT and how he has now incorporated that into his work on the main roster. The biggest party of the summer takes over Cleveland, as it is SummerSlam this weekend. For full disclosure, I am taping this Friday morning at 10:49 a.m. So if something happens on SmackDown and you see this after, My bad. All right, let's get right into it. I'm doing this by the way in the order that the matches are placed up on Wikipedia. So up first is Damian Priest against Gunther for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. If you've been watching or listening to my content for the last little bit, you know that this is a match that I have gone back and forth on. I don't know what they're going to do. At first, it was locked into me that Gunther was just going to ride this lightning bolt and become the World Heavyweight Championship, or become the World Heavyweight Champion. But then, it's kind of, it is not the level of Triple H Booker T, but holy shit, man. If you book a guy to say homelessness is a choice, and if your parents loved you, they would have given you money so you didn't have to live in your car, and then you beat that guy, whew, whew. That's kind of shitty of you. And also, I feel like Damian Priest is starting to come into his own a little bit as world champion, but he just hasn't really clicked for me yet in that role. And so I kind of then go back to, I think Gunther does win. I think it's going to be an interesting match either way, but I do think we get Gunther going into Berlin as the conquering hero and not someone who is still in need of winning a championship. Up next, it is Bayley against Nia Jax for the Women's Championship. I think it was interesting that they had Nia pin her on SmackDown on Friday in that tag team match where Mia Yim kind of felt like the obvious fall person in that bout. It feels like they've kind of been splitting things a little bit, and they've put a lot of the tension on Tiffany Stratton, and it feels like it's taken away from this bout necessarily. And so for Friday, I would really like to see a Nia Bayley, no Tiffany Stratton, whatever. Like, we get that is something that is looming with Money in the Bank, but I would like to see a Nia Jax Bayley, like, no, don't look at her, look at me. I'm the champion here. I'm the challenger here, and this is how it is going to be. I don't anticipate Stratton cashing in at SummerSlam. I know they did that with EO last year. I don't think they will do it again here. That might be a SmackDown after SummerSlam thing. I just don't think that it happens in this spot necessarily. The Raw Women's Championship, aka the WWE Women's World Championship, is up for grabs as Liv Morgan takes on Rhea Ripley, and again, this felt to me like it was obvious that Rhea Ripley was going to just win. And she was going to be the dominant performer who comes out and ends up getting the job done, reclaiming her championship, and it's like the last few months never even happened. But something happened along the way. Liv Morgan got really, really good. And I just feel like right now, you keep it with Liv Morgan. And one of the things I hate the most is... Rhea Ripley doesn't need the championship right now. Okay, well then that means the championship needs her. Like, to me, the championship should be, I don't want to say above everyone, but there should be very few that just don't need the championship. And right now, I'm not saying Rhea needs the championship, but I feel like you keep it on Liv and you keep this momentum going. I think that this is just kind of the end of Act 1 in this instead of the crescendo of this story. I feel like there is going to be a lot of shenanigans. I feel like it is going to be I think that this is going to be where the fracture in the bloodline is. And maybe you get it throughout the night. Like, maybe you do get Priest and Gunther to start the show. Balor comes in and throws off Damian Priest, and that leads to him losing. And then later in the night, the turn fully happens, and Judgment Day fully turns on Rhea Ripley with Finn, JD McDonough, and Carlito going off with Liv Morgan and Dom, Mommy, and Damian Priest form their own thing. Or they don't, who knows. The WWE Championship up for grabs as it is Cody Rhodes taking on Solo Sikoa. I would be stunned if Solo gets the win here. Cody feels like one of the locks of the card, and another lock is that it does feel like Roman Reigns shows up at this one. They've referenced him quite a few times on TV now. Solo being like, if you don't like it, you know where to find me. I just feel like this is the time that Roman comes back and we start this civil war. U.S. title on the line as Logan Paul defends it against L.A. Knight. I would love for L.A. Knight, to end up getting the United States Championship away from Logan Paul. Logan Paul playing the role of Logan Paul exceptionally well. He is remarkably good at being someone who is just painfully unlikable. But I do think it is now time with performers like Andrade and Carmelo Hayes and this mid-card that is building up in WWE on SmackDown, I do think it's time to have the mid-card championship back, and so I think LA Knight brings it back home. Intercontinental Championship, I think we get a title change here too. I think that they beat Braun Breaker once, you continue to build him up as just an absolute super duper star, and now it is time for him to get a win at SummerSlam and really coronate him as one of the next ones to watch in 2024 in WWE. And then lastly, CM Punk against Drew McIntyre with Seth Rollins as the special guest referee. There's going to be shenanigans. It is going to be all over the place, this match. I would not be surprised if we get some form of an AJ Lee run-in in this particular contest. I do think CM Punk gets the win in his return. And I think after this, it's time to stop beating Drew McIntyre like a drum. I think we have had, like, he gets his moment at WrestleMania, but then he gets cashed in on. And then he loses the qualifying match. And then he loses the championship match. And it's all these different things that have been colluding against Drew McIntyre that has obviously been building into this story. But coming out of this, can we get our guys some more wins? That's all I'm asking for on this show today. All right, that's the show. Remember to subscribe and leave a review if you like this. If you think this is the dumbest fucking idea ever, let me know in the reviews, or just follow me on social media at Primetime Klein and let me know. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys next week. I'm out.
Is your vehicle stopping like it should? Does it squeal or grind when you brake? Don't miss out on summer brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Want a website with unmatched power, speed, and control? Try Bluehost Cloud, the new web hosting plan from Bluehost, built for WordPress creators by WordPress experts. With 100% uptime, incredible load times, and 24/7 WordPress priority support, your sites will be lightning fast with global reach. And with Bluehost Cloud, your sites can handle surges in traffic no matter how big. Plus, you automatically get daily backups and world-class security. Get started now at Bluehost.com.